have you ever had the experience of, fighting with your partner and feeling like you just keep having the same argument over and over again and it's not getting you anywhere, you're not progressing, you're just fighting and it comes up over and over again. These are the kinds of fights where it gets really heated and you say things that you don't mean. We all do it. So, I kind of want to talk a little bit about like how do you calm down that kind of an argument to the point where you can actually communicate. And and what's the difference between communicating and arguing? I think arguing is that part of the confrontation where you're just angry, escalated. All you're trying to do is defend yourself, right? I mean, as humans, we have that fight or flight system, right? That if you feel threatened, the instinct is you either need to stand your ground and fight or you need to get out of there. And it actually gets activated when we're angry emotionally and not just in actual physical danger. So for example, when you're perceiving an attack from your partner, you are going to start defending yourself, right? This is not my fault. I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's really natural to feel that way, but it means that we get stuck in the cycle of just arguing, right? We're not communicating. We're just waiting until it's our turn to talk about why we're not doing anything wrong. Or you're just getting so angry that you're throwing, insults at each other and saying things that you don't mean. So, if you've ever asked yourself, like, why didn't I just say this? That kind of hindsight thing of, like, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say this? Is that, well, that part of your brain is not really online when you're arguing and feeling defensive. When we're feeling threatened or attacked, even just verbally or emotionally, we go into kind of a shutdown mode where those higher, more logical parts of our brain are not functioning really well. We're just trying to protect ourselves and, fight back and figure out how to just get to a safe, place emotionally. And so I think, what's really important to know about that is that if you want those more logical parts of your brain that are what you need in order to make progress with communication, if you want those to come back online, you need to calm down that physical response you're having. And, I think the two main problems with that are, one, we don't always know what it is that we need in order to calm down. And two, even if we do have some idea of what we need, it's hard to know how to communicate that with your partner so that they know what you need. Basically all you're doing is trying to figure out, like with our different styles, when we're upset, what do we need? How can we help each other with those things? And then, once we're able to calm down and get to that more effective communication space, okay, then we'll sit down and we'll actually work this out together. First thing that I suggest is take a minute, sit down sometime and just ask yourself, what calms you down when you're upset? That might be listening to music, it might be taking a short walk, calling a good friend, playing with your dog. There are a lot of ways to kind of calm down your system when you're just feeling completely, stuck in that fight or flight place. So it's really important just to be in touch with what is it that helps you come back down to baseline where that logical part of your brain is back online and actually going to help you out. So the second tip that I have is, let the storm pass. In other words, when you're in the middle of that argument phase, take that time to calm down, let the really heated part of the fight cool off, let a little bit of time pass, and don't try to solve the problem until you've gotten to that point where you're no longer in the heat of the moment, fighting, yelling. I think a lot of us are really tempted to solve the problem right when we're in the middle of it, but it's actually one of the worst times to do it because that's when you're in that fight or flight mode where, that logical part of your brain is not functioning. You are not going to say the most productive thing, and you're not going to be able to really, make changes because we do our best learning when we're calm and that higher, more logical part of our brain is functioning. When you're in fight or flight mode, you're not learning, you're just protecting. And so that's why I always say, don't try to solve the problem when you're still in the middle of the fight. Let that storm pass, give enough space that you've both calmed down, and then sit down and try to figure out what happened. So another tip that I have is, be really specific about what you need. and communicate that to your partner. So, you've taken the time to sit down and figure out what it is that calms you down and what you need in that moment to really come back down to your baseline. And it's really important not only to know that for yourself, but to tell your partner about that, because, we are, I think it's really human to believe that the way that you operate is the way that other people operate, right? So if this is what I need when I'm upset, it's probably what you need. Well, that's not always the case. And so I think it's really important to communicate clearly, like, okay, when I'm upset, I need blank, right? So for example, when I'm really upset, I need to go out for a quick walk. I need space. I just need to be on my own. Or on the flip side, when I'm upset, I really need you to just, be with me and give me a hug and let me know that it's going to be okay. And so I think it's really important just to be really clear with your partner. Like, when I'm upset, this is what helps me calm down. So I think that it's really powerful if you can be open to hearing that from each other and sharing that with each other so that you can help get to that place of communication together. And so, something I think that's really important is, can you sit down together and agree on one thing you can do for each other to help in that, in that part of the fight where you're both just so upset and you need to calm down, right? So if you now know about your partner that they really need space in order to calm down, then you can agree, like, okay, I offer to give you 30 minutes of time to yourself to calm down before we try to fix anything. Or on the flip side, if you've shared with your partner, I really need to know that you're, paying attention, that you care about this. When you walk away from me and try to get space, I panic. So then, maybe then you can say, okay, well, I agree to let you know before I take space, before I take my walk or whatever, I will let you know, I'm not walking away from the fight. I do want to figure this out, but I just am not in that headspace right now. I need my walk, or I need my space before I can really think this through. And I think the last piece of that that's really important is, if your partner changes or tries something new that's helping, or you're working, or you see them making that effort, just acknowledge that. Like, thank you for trying that. I really appreciate it. I know that it's hard for you to give me space when I'm upset, but I just, it really helped me to calm down and figure out how to talk about it. So it's just important to kind of give each other genuine appreciation when you're trying stuff that's new and it's hard. So yeah, hopefully some of that will help you get from that point of just really escalated fighting, saying what you don't mean, repeating the same arguments, to a place where you're able to calm back down, turn on the logical part of your brain, and actually make some progress for the future on some of those issues. So thanks for listening.